2, 1. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Monroe Mann, YouTube and TikTok #1 live streamer. I'm back in the rocking chair and back to doing some Rose reads. We're starting a new book now. I know I was doing Applied Economics by Thomas Sowell, but I kind of felt like it was starting to delve into too many controversial topics. And as some of you know, I'm trying to avoid maybe some of that controversy and just stick to some of the more motivational and practical things. So we're going to be talking about Babystep Millionaires by Dave Ramsey. And if you hear a buzzing in the background, it's the space heater. It's a little chilly. It's like 20 degrees outside. Super cold. It's super cold out there. So, all right, let's get started. So this book doesn't have a ton of notes. It's just 3 pages. I know a lot of the books that I take notes on I've got 7 to 10 pages of notes. Here we've just got 3. So we will probably finish this in 2 live streams. We'll see. The first one is, again, Babystep Millionaires by Dave Ramsey. A millionaire is simply someone who has a net worth of $1 million or more. Think about that. If you have a net worth of $1 million or more, you're a millionaire. So what does that mean? Do you have $1 million in the bank? Do you own $1 million worth of real estate? Do you have a business that's worth $1 million? Do you have $1 million worth of stocks? Do you have $1 million worth of Bitcoin? Or if you put together all of your furniture and all of your baseball cards and all of your knickknacks and cars and books, whatever, does it add up to $1 million? That's all you need in order to be considered a millionaire. What's going on, A1 Steak? Why are you dressed like you're visiting the island? Dun, 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 dun. I just got back from work and I didn't feel like changing. So that's why I'm dressed like this. Also, why can't YouTube's #1 live streamer just dress classily? This is what I do. This is what Monroe Mann does on his YouTube live streams. And so if you think about that, if you want to be a millionaire, it's a lot easier than you think. If you just do, and this is just me talking, not even the book, do something pretty simple. 2 things. Stop spending so much and start saving more money. And it sounds absolutely bonkers, like how could that possibly get me to millionaire status? And there are countless stories of like custodians or librarians or people working in jobs that you think are not that well paying, but then they died and they end up giving $3 million to the local charity. And like, how the heck did this janitor have $1 million to give away? Because the janitor, instead of, let's say the janitor got $50,000 a year or $40,000 a year, lived off of $20,000 and invested and saved the other $20,000. The problem is, what do most people do today if they're making $40,000 a year? They're spending $50,000 a year. That's a problem. If you're spending $50,000 a year and you're making $40,000 a year, you're never, ever going to become a millionaire. For those just joining us, we're talking about the book Babystep Millionaire by Dave Ramsey. And I'm interspersing my thoughts with some of the notes that I took from Dave Ramsey's book. The title of this live stream is Rose Reads. I do these often, and I read books. Like I'm reading this one, Seeking Wisdom. When I'm done with that, I will share the wisdom that I learned from that. I'm reading this book, State of Africa. When I'm done with that, I will share with you what I've learned about Africa. So it's good stuff. Please click like. We got a couple of likes here on YouTube. We've got a few people watching here on TikTok. Thank you guys both for clicking like and joining. So the next thing I wrote down, the first baby step is to save $1,000 for your starter emergency fund. You need to ask yourself right now, if you need $1,000 right this second, do you have it? Could you Zelle me $1,000 right now in an emergency? And I'm not talking about on a credit card, though a credit card can be an emergency fund. You should try to get as many credit cards as you can, as long as they don't charge you these annual fees. Because the more credit cards you have, the more available credit you have. And the more available credit you have, the higher your credit rating. So thank you, client, for sending a rose on. Wow, client just sent me a rose on TikTok. When am I? Is anyone on YouTube going to send me a rose? I was kissed by a rose by client, baby. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Evan, and thank you, client. Can you afford to spend $1,000 right now in an emergency if you need it? If you can't, major problem. If you can, the question is, what about $5,000? If you needed $5,000 right now, do you have it available? Either in cash or in a bank account that you can easily just transfer to someone in an emergency. This is what freedom feels like. When you are enslaved to your rent or your mortgage, and then you're enslaved to your job to pay your rent or mortgage, and you don't even have 1 month of expenses saved up, you are the modern version of a slave. You have a contract with the mortgage company or your landlord, and then you have to work at your job every single day. You should never have to work at your job. You should work at your job because you want to. And how do you know if you're working at the job because you want to or you have to? You have enough money saved up that if you quit, you could survive for a month, 3 months, 6 months, better yet, a year. You need to save up your emergency fund. Every dollar you put away into savings increases your psychological freedom, because you start to feel like, you know what? I don't need this job. Imagine if you had enough money. Let's say your monthly expenses are $3,000. What's 12 times 3? 36? $36,000. Imagine you have $36,000 saved up in an emergency fund. And when you go to work, you don't have to feel like, oh my God, I hate this job. Why am I doing this so I can pay the rent? It's, you know what? I'm doing this job because it's avoiding me using my emergency fund. That's different than I need this job in order to pay my rent or my mortgage or buy groceries. You should be going to your job every day going, I'm good. If I quit today, I could survive for an entire year without problems. That feels really good. That feels really good. Let me look at some comments. On YouTube, what's up, Nicola? I'm not ignoring you. Absolutely not. What's up, Popcat Gaming? Spending $0 a year and making $500 a year. It's called a lemonade stand. Am I doing good? You're doing good financially, but grammatically, you're doing terribly. Because the question should be, am I doing well? And those of you who watch me or not, you know that I am the lieutenant, I am the chief of the grammar police. So don't you make problems on my channel. Nicola says, you haven't even said hello yet, let alone a rose. Hi, Nicola. Nice to see you. Save with Ink says, sad. Mary says, Judge wants 4,500. Eric says, good point. Thank you. Let me look at the comments on TikTok. Thanks, John, for following me on TikTok. Carson liked the live. John says, holy something. Someone says, yo, look at your likes. I have something for you. 375 likes. Thank you so much. Your favorite blonde, Gemini, says, can you get me an internship? I can tell you how to get an internship. Write a letter, a snail mail letter. What's snail mail? Mail that takes a long time to arrive. Don't go to websites. Don't send email. Don't make a phone call. Write a letter and put a stamp on it and put it in the mail saying, hi, and show that you know about the company. You send out 100 of those letters to companies locally, you will get an internship at one of them. I absolutely guarantee it. And if you prove to me that you sent 100 letters to local companies on real letters that you typed out and you signed with a real ink, don't do a digital signature, no, real, And use a blue pen. Why? Because a blue pen, you can tell. If it's a black pen, it could look like it was typed. Do it with blue pen, and then here's a secret, put a PS at the bottom, PS, and write something very unique. It's like, I saw your interview on YouTube when you were interviewed by Jake Paul. I thought it was really fantastic. Or I saw your interview on this guy Monroe Mann's channel. I thought you did it doesn't have to be a famous YouTuber. Do 100 of those letters, you will get an internship. Someone says, what else we got? Holy niche. Carson liked the live. Niche means like something is underrated or not very well known. I am both. I am totally underrated and I'm totally not very well known. All right. So we're continuing here. Oh, Joe, I got some questions here from different people on YouTube. Edit says, I've tried being a Democrat and liberal. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that right now. Hi, AJ. How are you? Nathan Cruz says, I trade collectibles. So, guy, he went from $15 of collectibles to $1 trillion. You're a whiz kid. You're amazing. And Joey says, how do you feel about investing in silver? I own silver. And I have to get these little silver bars. 1 ounce silver bars. If you've been watching silver and gold have been going whoop up lately. There was a little bit of a pullback in the last couple of weeks, but again, look at what the value of gold and silver were in 2021 and look at it today, and you wish you would have bought gold and silver in 2021. I still think that the value of gold and silver is going to be significantly higher in 4 more years than it is today. I recommend you definitely go do that. I used to get my gold and silver at Money Metals, but I don't like the way they treated me recently. So I'm switching my gold and silver provider. I haven't found out who else I'm going to go with, but don't use Money Metals because they were mean. They were mean to me, and I didn't like the way they were treating me, and it was really not cool. AJ wants to start a podcast. You can't call a podcast Winners Do It Now. That's my trademark. That's from my book, Time's End. So no. Nathan says buy and trade on and for dip. You can try to buy on the dip. I just find that steadily buying, it's called dollar cost averaging, meaning just buy $5 every week or buy $100 every week. Who cares what the price is? But you need to make sure that you're buying assets that you really trust. So don't just take a stock tip from somebody and start buying $100 every week. No, you got to make sure that it's a stock or a product or service or whatever that you think this is going to ultimately, in 5 years, be worth much more than it is today. All right, we got any messages on? Someone that says Pee Wee Herman. What's up? Someone's called. Yeah, I am live again. What's up, my Hajime Mashite. Oh, Genki desu ka? It's my friend here on TikTok from Japan. Oh, Genki desu ka? Genki desu. Genki desu. What's up, John Maxing? And all right. Evils, I'm doing a social experiment. You want me to say grenade 5 times fast? Grenade, 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 grenade. Yeah. All right. John's asking, how often do I go live? I used to go live about like every day, but now I got this full-time job here, and it's making things a little bit more difficult. Also had a tragedy happen in the family in December, so I'm still overcoming that. But I think I'm getting back to the thing where I'll probably be doing about 3 times a week. Maybe once or twice during the week and maybe once or twice during the weekend. I'll get to the more comments in a second. So again, we're talking about Babystep Millionaires by Dave Ramsey. The next note I caught is pay off all debt, except your house, using the debt snowball. So I don't know if I like this debt snowball idea. And there are some people who love it, some people who don't. I'll explain this debt snowball idea in 30 seconds and you can tell me if you like it or not. Let's say you have 3 credit cards. One has a $100 balance, one has a $500 balance, and one has a $10,000 balance. The debt snowball approach is pay off the $100 one first, because you're going to feel really great when you pay it off, and then pay off the $500 one, because then that'll get paid off pretty quickly, and then pay off the $10,000 one. And the idea is if you're putting $10 a month towards your $100 credit card debt, once you pay it off, you take that $10 that you were paying towards that $100 credit card and you put it towards the $500 one plus an extra like $10. So now you're putting $20 a little more. The only way this really makes sense to me is if that $100 one is the one with the biggest interest rate. Because if that $10,000 one is got 30% interest, but your $100 one has 5% interest, you're going to put $10 towards that $100 one, but you're going to be getting so much more interest that you have to pay on that $10,000 one that's at 30% interest. So you have to include the interest rate in that. What I would do if you have this issue is let's say you have $50 a month to put towards your credit cards. Put $30 towards the $100 one. $30. Did I say $50? Yeah. So $30, then $20 towards the $500 one, and $10 towards the more expensive, the one that has the highest interest rate and the highest balance. Because at least then you're trying to take out some of that horribly high balance. And the thing that's exciting too is once you pay off the credit cards, you're going to have like $50, $100, $200, $250 a month that is now yours. And where does that money then go? To a vacation fund, to investments, to maybe your eating out fund. It's like you have to keep track of that. Once the credit cards are paid off, wow, let's say you're spending $250 a month to pay off the credit cards. Man, how good does that feel when you've got $250 a month now to put towards something else? The problem is people pay off their credit cards and they just stop. And they just, that $250 that they've been putting towards their credit cards every month just disappears into expenses. No, you have to realize when you pay off the credit cards and you got $250 now, that's not being allocated. You have to allocate it proactively towards investments, towards a savings account, towards a vacation fund, whatever it is. And some people will say, if you don't have your emergency fund, you cannot invest money. I completely disagree with this, because saving up for your emergency fund is not as fun as investing. And so if you keep yourself from investing because you're trying to save up your emergency fund, you're going to go crazy. So have I had to use my emergency fund many times over my life? And then I have to replenish it. But what you need to do is replenish it. Let's just say it's $100 a month that you're putting into savings. Take $20 of that and put that into investments, because it's fun. And it makes you feel like you're moving and shaking. If you're just saving up into a savings account, sometimes it's not as fun. What I do is always, if I'm spending money on investments and savings, part of it's going to investments and part of it is going to savings. Always. Let's look at some comments. I'll go to TikTok first. Anyone knows what we're staring at? You're staring at my face, Jack. What do we got here? No more. Ishmael saying, medicine for what? Can anyone help me get money for my medicine on Cash App? Oh, I'm glad Ishmael's asking for money here for his medicine on Cash App. Don't make stupid investments. Giving money to Ishmael here, who's asking for money on TikTok for his investments, and he wants you to send it via Cash App. That's how you lose your money. Don't do that. You may not realize it, but every dollar needs a job. And right now, every dollar you spend is either being spent at a minimum wage job or at a high-paying $300,000 per year job. If you spend a dollar on, it's different for everybody. For me, spending money for Starbucks coffees is a waste of money. That's a minimum wage job for me, for my dollar. For other people, spending money on Starbucks makes them happy. Well, in that case, it's a $300,000 job for that person. So don't let anyone tell you that what you're spending money on is a waste of money. For you, it may be a really good use of money. But what you need to determine is if you're going to spend $5 a day on lattes at Starbucks, you need to reduce spending $5 a day somewhere else. And ideally, if you're spending $5 at Starbucks, you got to reduce spending $7 elsewhere. Why? You need to reclaim the $5 and you need $2 extra to put into savings and investments. All right. Let's see. Jack says, takes one to know one. My sister's currently in the hospital. Flash says, I'm not going to say, that's bad grammar. I'm not going to say something that's bad grammar, but I will say that love is real. That's good grammar. Let me look at some comments here on YouTube. And AJ says, what about winners don't wait? AJ, you got that one. Winners don't wait. I love it. It's the same concept, but you came up with something on your own. Great idea for a podcast. AJ says, I want to gamble on the Super Bowl. I put 1,000 on Seattle. I won 500. Yeah, AJ, I don't know why you're gambling again. We talked about this before. It was luck, chance that you won, because it could have been the Patriots and you would have been bitching and moaning to me again that you lost your $1,000. Please stop doing this. Now, again, what did I just say? You can spend your money wherever you want. But I know, AJ, you don't have $500,000 sitting around and a $1,000 bet is no big deal. No, $1,000 to you is a lot of money. So I recommend, good job. I'm glad you made 500. Take that 500 and put it into the S&P 500. Take that 500 and do not lose it. Do something good with it now. And please stop investing money on gambling on who's going to win the basketball game. Certainly not that much money, maybe $5. Here's my take on, it's the same thing I talk about with day trading. If you want to day trade, I think that's a great idea and it could be a fun thing. Take $50 and don't add any more money until you turn that 50 into 100. Once you double your money, $100, take the $50 out. Now you're playing with house money. Now you've got $50 and it doesn't matter if you win it or lose it. Try to turn that $50 into $100 again. Then this time take out $25. So now you've made a profit from your day trading and now you've got 50 and 25, you got $75. Try to double that to 150. And then when you do, take out $50. You see what I'm saying? And then before you know it, you're day trading with $20,000. Double it to $40,000, take out 10. And you just keep doing that. No, it's the same thing with gambling. So you just put $1,000 on the Seahawks and they won. It's not because you were skillful, AJ. You didn't pick. You're not amazing at picking who's going to win the Super Bowl. And in fact, The reason why you won $500 is because the odds were that the Patriots were going to win. But let's do good. You got $1,000. You won $500. You came out with $1,500. What I urge you to do now is you can do one of two things. A, take that $500 and put in the S&P 500. That's a smart move. Or take the $1,000 and put it in your pocket. And with that $500 that you gained, so you've made back your $1,000, good. Put it in your pocket and now use that $500 now to gamble with on other games. But don't put all $500 down. Maybe put $50 at a time. And when it gets to zero, stop. Walk away from the table and stop gambling. Don't take that $500 that you put in the S&P 500 and go, you know what? I'm going to put that in the next NBA Finals. You know what? I think it's time for me to baseball season starting. I think I'm feeling lucky. No, you're feeling cocky. You're not feeling yucky. You're feeling cocky. Let me look on. Thanks, John, for liking the live. Guts says stop gambling. Says nah. What's up, Guts? Hi, Mr. Henley. And whenever someone's here tells you to say something, they're trying to mess with you. John Max, I've been a YouTube live streamer now for 2 years. I know pretty much everything. I don't mind if they're messing with me. I'm happy that they're trying to interact with me. I'm happy they're talking with me. So here's my thing. Guys, stop calling me Unc. The only person who can call me uncle is my friend in Germany. To the rest of you, I ain't your uncle. I ain't your bro. I ain't your cuz. I am your YouTube #1 live streamer host, and I expect you to treat me with the respect that comes with that. All right. John says, my bad. All right, John, even though John said on TikTok, Unc, what is something you wish you could say to your younger self? It's always a good question. I'm happy to answer it. I'm 48 right now. To talk to my younger self, 1, get whole life insurance before, like when you're in your teens. Ask your parents to do that because it will grow the cash value so big by the time you're 30 years old, and it'll cost you nothing when you're younger because you have perfect health. 2, get $1,000, put it into the S&P 500 when you're 20, and add at least $1,000 every single year. Ideally, start when you're 10 years old. By the time you're 25, this is the concept behind the Trump accounts. So, whatever your politics are, Trump accounts are a brilliant idea. And if you have kids, you should open a Trump account. What it does is anyone who's born, like if you have kids who are born today, you automatically get a Trump account that is funded with $1,000. And it's basically a stock fund for your kids. And it's a 401k for your kids. But the thing is, when you start at $1,000, when you are one day old, you know, when you're 25 years old, it ends up being like $1 million. So you can put in like a max of, I don't know, $3,000 or $5,000 per year. If you put the max, so that's something like $400 per month. Put $400 a month into that fund for your kid. This is the Trump account. By the time that person is 25 years old, it's $1 million. Can you imagine if your parents did that for you? So when you graduate college, you're a millionaire? I haven't had the good fortune of finding the love of my life or finding the person who's going to be the mother of my children. But I guarantee as soon as I do, and they're born, Trump account. That means, let's say I have kids when I'm 50. That means when I'm 70 years old or when I'm 75 years old, my son or daughter will be a millionaire. Talk about good long-term care policy. Hey, son, I need help. But the whole idea is, if I continue to do everything as well as I'm planning it right now, I'm not going to need help from anybody when I'm in retirement. And that's kind of what I'm hoping from you guys. I want to train you guys to make sure that you're not dependent on the government, not dependent on friends or family, that you've got a good financial setup already. Let me see. We've got some more comments. Snowman Yankee wants me to do the debt snowball dance. Debt, snowball, debt, snowball, debt, snowball, debt, snowball, debt, snowball, debt, a snowball, debt. Yeah, debt. The debt snowball dance. Hope you like that, Snowman Yankee. What's up, Jackson on YouTube? Ryan says, how should you act in an interview to wow the interviewer? Ryan, I would say don't say like, and you know. All of you probably say like, and you know more than you think you do. If you don't say that, you'll leaps and bounds ahead of the competition. And let me see. Nathan had a big trade for 10,000 baseball cards. Very cool. Good job. Mr. World wants a question. Of course you can. No problem. Nathan went from $48 per ounce to $15 per ounce. All investments can go up and down. For me, buying gold and silver is not so much as a investment, even though it is. It's more of a hedge, just like Bitcoin is too. God forbid the fiat currencies, which are the currencies that governments print, suddenly go belly up. I'm reading this right here. Fateful Hours, the collapse of the Weimar Republic. If you don't know about the Weimar Republic, you should. The Deutschmark in Germany was worth a lot of money. Then the Weimar Republic came about and it printed so many Deutschmarks that the Deutschmark became worthless. And there's this famous photo of kids with a wheelbarrow of money, and they're playing with these like 100 Deutschmark bills because they were worth less than a penny. Inflation could happen, and it could happen again. As Mark Twain said, those who do not learn history will be doomed to repeat it. And for any of you who don't take the time to read about things like this, you think that having all your money in dollars or euro or Chinese renminbi or Japanese yen is smart, or even the Swiss franc. It's not. You're really foolish. You should have money in other currencies. You should have money in other forms, such as gold, silver, platinum, palladium. By the way, we are at 15 likes, which is the the silver medal on the YouTube live stream Olympics. If we can get 5 more likes, we will get the gold medal on the YouTube live stream Olympics. And wow, we have 1,100 likes on TikTok. Yeah. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. AJ, if you spend money at Starbucks, you should reduce the amount of alcohol you consume. Very good. What's up, cool dude? Nathan says money is tax, wealth is not tax, selling is tax. I have no idea what you're talking about. I just wanted to win my money back. Good, AJ. You got your money back. Now stop being a gambler. And now Roast Muffin here on YouTube says Bitcoin is on sale right now because Bitcoin at a high was like $126,000 per Bitcoin. Now it's down to around 75,000. I'm still buying Bitcoin and I still hold Bitcoin, but here's my cautionary analysis. I have always thought that the value in Bitcoin is that it will soon be a substitute for other forms of currency to buy and sell things. But it's been years, and I still cannot easily buy a sandwich with Bitcoin. I still can't buy things on Amazon with Bitcoin. You can't send me Bitcoin easily here on TikTok or YouTube. So think about it. If that's the case, I don't know how useful Bitcoin will be as a medium of exchange. Some of you might say, yeah, well, gold is the same thing. Gold is not practical. You can't give me gold on YouTube and TikTok. You can't easily buy a Starbucks coffee with gold and silver. And you would be right. But the difference is that gold and silver are intrinsically valuable in that they're both pretty they're shiny, they are used in jewelry, in circuit boards, in computers. There is a sense of utility. Where's the utility of Bitcoin, right? It's not pretty. You can't see it. You can't hang it on the wall. You can't wear it. It can't be jewelry. And some of you might say, well, I could make a jewelry out of Bitcoin and it has my digital key in it. You're grasping at straws. My fear is, and this is where Bitcoin could come crashing down and lose all of its value, is if we don't start to see that Bitcoin is being used to buy and sell things on a day-to-day basis with normal people like me and you, I don't think it's going to hold its value. The value in Bitcoin was that it was rising and rising because people were losing faith in the dollar and losing faith in euro and renminbi and the Russian ruble and the Indian rupee, all of those. And they were thinking that maybe Bitcoin was going to be where things turn. Let's just say there was a complete economic collapse in the world tomorrow. You're not going to be able to suddenly use your Bitcoin to buy and sell things. What about gold and silver? Let's just say this is a little 1 ounce gold bar of gold. If this were a 1 ounce bar of gold, it's worth about $4,000, maybe even close to $5,000 right now. I could easily just take that out and give that to somebody, and I could buy a car, or I could buy food. Granted, they would have to know that it is gold and this and that. So, but it's still a heck of a lot easier than me trying to buy something with Bitcoin. Even to this day, and I own a fair amount of Bitcoin. What the heck do I do with it to buy? How can I buy a car with it? How can I buy a soda with it? Maybe you could say, oh, well, I can negotiate with them the cost of Bitcoin and then I could send it to their wallet and this. It's still pretty complicated. Whereas here is, look, I'll give you this bar of gold. Can I have your car? Okay, how much is that? It's an ounce? Like they do in the old TV shows. All right. Let's see. Let me see. Let's see. We've got some more people here on TikTok. Let's see what they're saying. Yeah, inflation is happening right now. John says, I'm in high school right now. I have a decent bit of money. Good job. What's your advice on what to do with it? Like I said, save up make sure you put some of it into your emergency fund and put some of it into S&P 500 and maybe put some of it into some individual stocks that you like. Start learning about real estate, saving up to make a down payment on a home, either a primary residence or rental real estate, where you buy it and you rent it to other people. There's so many different things that you can do. I'm working on a book now called Investor that I should probably get that thing done because I bet a lot of you would buy it if I finished it up. And I thank you for following me at RJ. Jinx says, Grandpa's been collecting silver for 20 years. I think it's a beautiful idea. What do you think about the market manipulation? That's the thing you have to be careful about with Bitcoin and things like that. But it's you have to be careful about with everything. Look at GameStop. Look at GameStop in 2021. That was market manipulation. So it's not unique to Bitcoin. It's something that's just pervasive no matter what you're buying or selling. And Bing Bong is telling me that I'm lying. Okay. That Slow says they've been trying to push the practical Bitcoin thing for years. And I agree with you. They have been. And it's just not taking off. Someone is saying that I'm lying here. Can you buy a McDonald's burger with Bitcoin? No. Can you go to the car wash and pay with Bitcoin? No. Can you easily send Bitcoin on Zelle to people? No. It's going to take a long time before it is useful. But if they take too long, it's going to be a problem. I'm telling you that. It's going to be a problem. And that's great that you have a Bitcoin credit card. When anyone who calls me bro or sir or cuz, they lose all credibility. I'm not going to respond to you because it's so disrespectful. All right, let's see. Hi, Tucker. How are you? And notification says, do you support Donald Trump? All I'll say is, in general, I do. I think he's doing a really good job. And I'm grateful that we've got someone in office who cares about America. Okay, let me look at the YouTube comments and look at stats before I get on Mark Meneal. I've got a little Ed Grimley thing going. Yeah, is that with my hair? I forget how he does the dance. And Penny's got discontinued. Yeah, AJ, the fact that the United States penny is no longer being produced shows you to the extent that inflation has hurt the country. A penny used to be able to buy you significant amount of things in this country. A penny cannot buy you anything anymore because they don't exist. Technically, you can still use pennies. But as they're being used and being brought back in the circulation, I think eventually you will not be able to even use pennies anymore. You guys know about the Fed, and they have a target of like 2% inflation per year. I think it's nonsense. I'm hoping that the new Fed chair is going to put a stop to that because it's just hurting. It's hurting the country. It's hurting the world. And CD esoteric Bitcoin value is coming from its relatively immaculate conception of fair distribution, and it cannot be recreated. Bitcoin has been a store of value. It's been a store of value, but not of a consistent value. I mean, it's gone. It was at 126,000. Now it's 75,000. That's a questionable store of value. I mean, that's a big change. It's a big change. You could argue the same about gold, but gold is up at 4,000. I do not think it's going to go back to 2021 prices of $1,000 per ounce. I don't think it's going to happen. And Open Dime is a physical Bitcoin solution. That sounds interesting. Thank you for that. Roast Muffin is a Bitcoin defense. You think this way because you're in a wonderful first world country. Roast Muffin, tell me, first of all, the United States is a first world country, and it's wonderful in some ways, but it has a lot to be desired in a lot of ways. I've always said this. I've traveled around. Americans don't know how great America is until they leave the country. And they also don't know about how many ways America can improve until they leave the country. And I've lived all over, and I've traveled everywhere. I've lived in China. I've lived in the Middle East. I've lived in Europe. I've lived many places in the United States. I've traveled everywhere. And everywhere I go, I see why America is so successful. And I also say, I wish America would do this better because these different countries do it better than the United States. The United States does a lot of things exceedingly well and better than anyone else in the world. It's why we are the greatest country in the world in many, many ways. But the country can absolutely improve. Case in point, we need high-speed rail, and I think it's embarrassing that Asia and Europe have high-speed rail everywhere, and the United States has basically none. It's really, frankly, embarrassing. And let's see. Other comments. Thanks, Ari, for liking the live. We got some Wolfman. X per P in Ethereum is way better than Bitcoin. Roast Muffin says if you're in a country with an unstable government, a way to trade and store value. Roast Muffin, yes, you're right. But also almost every country now is regulating Bitcoin. I mean, name a country that is not regulating Bitcoin in any way, shape, or form. So that was a good argument maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But every country is starting to recognize that, oh my gosh, we're creating the Wild West here if we don't get in on this Bitcoin craze. And the United States, like Bitcoin in the United States, is no longer a free and underground way of managing money or investments. Everything's tracked. Bitcoin sales are taxed now in the United States, and it's just another it's like another stock now. And it's now trackable now. I mean, it was supposed to be an untrackable thing, but I guarantee if Amazon starts accepting Bitcoin payments, well, Amazon, I'm sure, is going to have to comply with government decree that the government will know exactly what you bought and how much quantity and when and where if there's a court order. So I think you're a little bit behind on that, Roast Muffin. And someone's calling me bro, so I'm not going to talk. But I tell you, if anyone calls me bro or unk or cuz, I don't read your comment anymore. All right. Esoteric says, I apologize, I didn't mean it. Let me tell you this, guys. Here's a lesson from your unk. You call nowadays, if you call somebody sir in a unk, cuz, bro, it comes across in a really negative way. Don't call somebody who you respect cuz, bro. Sir is okay, but a lot of times it's like, here's the difference. Yes, sir, I understand. That's acceptable. Sir, do you want me to help you or not? You can put any other word in for sir, but that person's not saying sir. He's basically saying, hey, do you want me to fix this or not? So stop calling people unk, cuz, bro, and nor girlfriend, gal. Why is always cuz, bro, and unk? How about aunt? Aunt? Or what's another one? Sis? No, why does nobody call people sis? Yeah, all right, gold is at 5,066 right now. So gold is even higher than it was when I last checked, like last month. It was at 4,900 or so. Silver is at 80. AJ is asking, hey, Monroe, did you take accounting classes during your time in college? Yeah, I have an MBA in finance, so I had to do a number of accounting classes there. In law school, I had to take an accounting class on basically the legal accounting to track money. And then I got a master's of entrepreneurship, and I took entrepreneurial accounting. So altogether, I've taken probably 4 or 5 accounting classes. I've also read a lot of accounting books on my own. And all of you should read books on accounting because it's the way the world works. Debits and credits, profit and loss, assets and liabilities. And you can start by an easy book, read Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, if you just want to get an introduction. And let me look at some comments on YouTube. And Tucker's saying, are you a teacher? I am. I am a teacher. That's what what's what I'm doing right here is teaching. Essentially, I'm an inspiring guy. I'm a motivational speaker, but I'm also a lawyer. I'm a Bronze Star nominated Iraq War veteran. I'm a real estate investor. I'm a stock market investor. I am a crypto investor. I am a 11-time book author. You can find my books on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Search for Monroe Mann. More of my books are on Amazon than Barnes & Noble. I'm a filmmaker. I'm an actor. I'm a comedian. So I'm a musician. Sometimes you'll watch me on here and I'm playing music that I've written and things like that. So we do lots of cool stuff on my YouTube and TikToks. And AJ said, fresh drinking water will become more and more valuable, says Wolfman. Yeah, so which is why I have invested in 3 Brita water filters, and I am hoarding water. And soon I'm going to sell that to you guys here on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to become like the go-to guy. My last name is Mann, M-A-N-N. Soon I'm going to be known as the Water Man. I'm just letting you know. If you guys need fresh water, come to me. And comments on TikTok. I know Sage says unk refers to an older person, meaning a wise person or an old person. That might be for the younger generation. None of us find it endearing. I don't want to be called unk. I don't want to be called bro. And I don't want to be called cuz. Call me by my name. My name is Monroe. Maybe you could call me by that. Or my nickname. I'll even let you guys call me Ro. And I don't let anybody call me Ro, except my really close friends. But I would rather you call me Ro than unk, cuz, or bro. Because I'm not your cuz. I'm not your bro. All right? All right. Big Father says we should buy fart coin. You never know. That could be the next big thing. And, oh, that's another one. Yeah, Jacob, don't call me boss either. I hate boss. Yo, what's up, boss? I'm not your boss. Your boss? No. And Esoteric says U.S. dollar global hegemony is the only way. This MMT thing, that's I think that's the money monetary theory, doesn't end up in disaster. Bitcoin is a hedge against the U.S. dollar, full stop. And it could be, and that may be where its value is. But I don't think it's going to go up to 250,000, or some people target $1 million or $5 million per Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to happen unless you can actually use the Bitcoin very easily as the US dollar. Because again, what good is it if I've got $1 million in Bitcoin if I can't use it? You can say, oh, but I can use it to turn into US dollars. And if the US dollar is constantly getting inflated, then the value of the Bitcoin should go up. The value of gold and silver should go up. Yes. But I still think the value of Bitcoin is limited. Same thing with gold. I don't know if you've heard of something called goldbacks. I should show you some. I have a couple of them here. They're basically, they look like this, and they're made of gold, but they're bills. It's like a dollar bill, but it's made of gold. And they make them in $1, $2, $5, $10, $50 increments. You could go to goldback.org or goldback.com. You can read about it. And it's really basically bills made of gold. So it's not dollars. They're made of gold. And so the value of them is not in their paper. It's in the fact that it's made with something tangibly valuable. And that is more right now. You can buy goldbacks, and there are some companies they make goldbacks in Texas, I think, New Hampshire, Nevada. Maybe it's not Texas, but definitely Nevada and New Hampshire. And there are businesses that will accept them. But I still think Bitcoin is a long way from being a useful currency of exchange. And Dollarman's asking me, what's my problem? My problem is you, man. My problem is you, because you didn't subscribe yet. By the way, please click like, please subscribe. Thank you. And Dollarman says I'm a bit high-strung. I think I am high-strung. You can call me dude. I don't mind dude. That's one of the ones you can call me that I don't care about. And Esoteric says, I'm in my 30s, and bro is simply a conversational word like dude. It's just used to highlight a comment. I wouldn't take the word. I understand that, but I do. I find it completely insulting. Maybe other people my age don't care. I'm just not anybody's bro. I don't even let my friends call me bro. And if they're my same age, or even if I have friends who are in their 20s, I'm like, dude, don't call me bro. Don't call me cuz. Don't call me boss. Dude is fine. But, and I'm wondering why that is. I think because cuz implies that we're related. Bro implies that we're related even more. And the boss and sir, those are two words of respect that today are not used to show respect. They're used to, it's like to demean, to bring people down. I'm like, don't you call me bro. Don't call me sir. Don't you call me boss. All right. Thank you, AJ. You can call me Dr. Mann. That's right. I have a PhD in psychology. Wolfman drills water wells for a living. 19 years ago, I was drilling for 25. this message better. If I have to give a 10-second censor here because it might be naughty. Um, all right, I was drilling for $25 a foot. Now I drill for, I don't know. Don't be condescending. It makes you look. I don't have no idea what you're talking about, Wolfman. Where am I from? I'm from the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. I know I just combined the Pledge of Allegiance with the Gettysburg Address. And Tucker's in a school. And Tucker, I used to teach a lot of places. I taught at elementary school, I taught at middle school, I taught at high school, I taught in college and university. I taught at adult education schools such as Wall Street English in China. I taught there for twice, 2 different times. And now here I teach on YouTube and TikTok as well. And I make 6 figures now. And I mention that only to let you know that it's possible. And don't give up. It took me a long time to get here. And I've had opportunities over the years, but I turned them down. Finally, this time I said yes. And I want you guys to also know that before I got this job, which is 6 figures in US dollars, I was unemployed for 18 months down in Florida. You know, life has its ups, life has its downs. But every up and down has a silver lining too. I was unemployed for 18 months in Florida. But that also meant I had, and forgive me if I tear up a little bit, it's still fresh. I basically spent almost all my time with my mom, who passed away in December. And so I kind of feel like what a blessing that I was unemployed for a year and a half. Because I got to do all these great things with my mom. We traveled everywhere. We went to the movies all the time. And so I kind of think it was the best paying job ever, which was unemployment, because I got to spend the time with my mom. Now, for the first time in my life, I am making consistent, it's a 6-figure income. And it's kind of weird. I've never been money focused, ever. I guess I'm proud that I fulfilled a life goal of having a 6-figure income, but it's not the be all and end all, because I talk to my colleagues all the time. It's like, now I'm working 11 hours. I worked 11 hours on Thursday. I worked 12 hours on Friday. Is it really worth it to spend all of your time devoted to a job, and it pays you well, but you've lost what you gain in money, you lose in time. And the time that I had when I was unemployed, I would not go back in time and change anything. However, again, how did I survive for 18 months? Because I'm a saver. I know how to save money, and I saved up my emergency fund, and it kept me going. And that's why I urge you guys to make sure that you have an emergency fund and savings as well. Let me read some more. I'm going up to the YouTube comments. I'll come back down to TikTok in a second. Let's see. Don't Panic says crypto is digital tulips. So, don't panic, which is funny because it's called the tulip panic. I'll give you guys the brief history of this. I think it was in the 1200s or so, 1300s, maybe a little bit later. In the Netherlands, tulips were very difficult to procure, and the only people that had tulips were the royalty. So tulips became very valuable, and tulips, are a very common flower, but they were very uncommon then. And what happened is all the common people started to try to get tulips, and they would spend lots of money to import tulips or to barter with other people for tulips, maybe get one from someone who was in the royal family, and you became a person, a somebody, if you had a tulip. So think of it as a Lamborghini today, maybe, or a Rolls Royce, or an Armani suit. I don't have any of those things, but that's today the modern equivalent of a tulip, because it's something that only the rich people have, people of status. Well, eventually what happened is people started to think, you know what? Maybe I can figure out a way to grow tulips. I'm going to learn how to grow tulips, and then I'm going to become rich. And so, and then I would sell the tulips. So I could get a lot of tulips and then sell them to these people who wanted them. And I'm going to become wealthy. And that's what happened. But before you know it, everybody was doing this. And then before you know it, there were tulips everywhere. And what happened to the tulips? It became a big panic. Everyone was trying to get rid of their tulips and make money. But the value of the tulips inflated so much because they were everywhere. And this is one of the arguments why they say Bitcoin is not going to be like the tulip panic, because Bitcoins are indivisible in the sense that you can't inflate them. 99% of Bitcoins have been mined now, and the final point 0.5, or not, the penultimate 0.5% will be mined over the next 10 years. And then the final 0.5% will be mined by 2130 or something. So basically in 10 years, 99.5% of Bitcoin has been mined. So the idea is that someone can't go out and make more Bitcoin. It's already becoming extremely difficult to mine more Bitcoin. But this is why the Bitcoin is not going to grow in value unless it eventually starts to become useful. And right now, I know I got people on TikTok and YouTube telling me otherwise. I don't find Bitcoin to be very useful in my life in any way. I have not bought one thing with Bitcoin. And until Bitcoin is at McDonald's, and that's a very good test. That's one that I'm just making up, because every single country has McDonald's. Maybe there's one or two like North Korea that doesn't. Until you can buy your Big Mac at McDonald's easily with Bitcoin, it's not going to grow. It's not going to grow in value to like $1 million per coin. That's my opinion. And yeah, as Esoteric says, Bitcoin was the advent of true digital scarcity on an uncensorable, trustless ledger. Guacamole says, you like cheeseburgers. AJ says, what classes were you teaching? In China, I was basically teaching these classes. I was teaching people about finance, investing, real estate, entrepreneurship, and travel, and going after your dreams. So basically what I did in China for all the students in China is what I do now here on YouTube and TikTok. But I've taught many classes. I've taught classes on finance, psychology, law, et cetera, et cetera. Sage asks if I have any... Wait. What have we got? Oh my gosh, there's so many comments. I can't believe it's actually getting to the point now with TikTok that I actually have massive amounts of comments on both YouTube and TikTok. It's hard to keep up with all these. I'm scrolling up on TikTok. Do I have any kids? I do. I have 12 kids here on YouTube, and I've got 3 kids here on TikTok. And I'm Daddy Warbucks, and I've adopted you all. If you guys don't know who Daddy Warbucks is, you got to watch the musical Annie or the movie Annie. How do you spell your nickname? Yeah, Roe, R-O-E, because my name is Monroe. So some people call me Ro. Some have called me Roey. Some call me Roro. My mother would call me Rodel. Like yodeling. Rodele-hoo, 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 rodele-hoo. Let's see. What's your most controversial take? And then he says, and do you support Trump? I guess that is my most controversial take. I support Trump. And Cornelius says, I'm trying my best. Okay, that's not going to read that. What do I think about the Super Bowl yesterday? I watched half of it. I think the Seahawks were ahead by 9-0. And I did watch part of the Super Bowl.
Yo, what's up, brother?
How did you join here?
You invited him. You invited me, dog.
How did I invite him?
I don't know.
Well, you know what? Welcome aboard, my friend. Welcome aboard.
No, thank you, bro. Thank you, bro.
Hey, you got it. You got to be PG. Don't. No foul language. You got kids on here.
Language?
No foul
Yes,
language.
Sir. Yes, sir.
You promise?
I'll try my best.
So we got someone. I don't know how. I guess I pressed a button here and press somebody. Well, hey, good to have you here. What's your name?
My name is Jason.
Jason. Where do you live?
I live in Kansas, sir.
Kansas. No, look. He used the word "sir" in a respectful way. Now that is how you do it. I give you a salute because you did it. That's how it's done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You're in a nice car there. What do you got? What's that?
Who is that? Oh, this is my friend's whip right now. Random, bro.
Very
I
nice.
just had to destroy her real quick to ruin her day.
Ruin whose day?
No, I was doing a battle on TikTok Live, and I got 300 votes, and she got 0.
Well, good for you, but I'm sorry that your friend got 0, because getting 0 is pretty. That's unfortunate.
It probably depleted her motivation, but I just wanted to make her feel better, so I was telling her she did a great job, you know?
I think that's one. Let me ask you guys on YouTube, can you hear what these guys are saying? I don't want to leave you alone here. Let me know if you can hear these guys on TikTok, because I want to make sure it's fun for you guys as well. So let me ask this guy, you guys, we're talking about investing in money and things like that. What are you guys, are you in your 20s maybe?
No.
Older or younger?
Younger.
Younger. All right, so you're a teenager. Have you started investing yet?
A little bit on Cash App for now.
Okay, that's very good. So here's I'm glad that you're investing in Cash App. I always tell people, and I started doing this really when the problem happened on Robinhood in 2021 with GameStop, when Robinhood stopped the trading. Do you remember when that happened or no?
I'm pretty sure I heard something about that from my dad.
So it was really an unfortunate thing where the price of GameStop got inflated by all of these individual small investors, and a lot of people were sitting on a huge profit, but they couldn't sell the GameStop because Robinhood put a stop on it. And as a result, when they finally lifted the stop, GameStop price dropped dramatically, and these people lost all of their gains. And so I learned a valuable lesson there. And it's general investment knowledge anyway. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. So now I've learned never put all your investments on one single app. So it's good if you have some investments on Cash App, but you got to definitely put some into Robinhood, into Stash, into Fidelity, into, I mean, there are multiple. Just search on the App Store for investment apps, and you'll find that. I think that's the best thing I could sell, is just start learning to diversify now, because God forbid Cash App goes out of business or something, and then your money's just gone. So, what kind of content do you do usually?
I usually do gaming, but this is my first IRL stream where I just talk to my chat.
This is the first time you're doing a live stream?
Yeah.
Very
on my phone. Yeah.
Very, very. I'm telling you this, just from advice for you. I don't have a big following on TikTok, but on YouTube I've got almost 6,000, and I'm kind of a small big thing. There. Don't put production value in. Just keep doing live streaming on your phone, and don't worry about lighting too much. I mean, look at this. I'm just in my apartment. I have a rocking chair. You'll eventually get more and more people. How many people do you have following you now?
I have I think 45 now.
Okay.
I just made this account, so.
Just keep doing what you're doing. Join other people like this, or don't be afraid to just go on. What's your friend's name?
His name is Tucker.
Oh, wait. Are you? What's your last name?
Leonard.
Are you the Tucker that was talking to me on here, or no?
Yeah.
You've been watching me for a while.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, bro.
Yeah. No, you didn't hear me before. I said I don't like when people call me bro.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry,
You're
sir.
killing me. You're killing me. Say nice to meet you, Monroe.
It's a bad habit because all my friends call me bro, so it makes me call everyone else bro.
I'm sure I might be one of the only, maybe other people don't find it offensive, and maybe it's my problem and got to deal with it. All I say is just, I don't like it, and I'd appreciate it if you just call me by my name.
Yeah, what's your name?
Monroe.
Nice to meet you, Monroe.
Nice to meet you too. He's putting his hand out, so I'm going to shake this young Tucker's hand. Do you have a TikTok as well?
Yeah, I do have a TikTok. I'm live right now as well.
Look at this. Everyone's live. This is freaky. This is what's happening in the modern world today. I'm doing live with someone else on my live, and he's doing a live on his phone while I'm doing live. This is just nonsense.
I'm just talking to my chat too, just like he is.
That's very, very cool. The other thing I should do is get a second phone and do YouTube live and TikTok live at the same time, like I'm doing.
Yeah, that tends to work.
The thing that I like about it is that sometimes I'll have 0 people on TikTok, but I'll have like 20 people on YouTube, or sometimes I'll have 2 people on YouTube, but I'll have 7 people on TikTok. It just makes you feel better because eventually you kind of always got somebody there giving you support.
What's up, Shane? What's up? Yeah.
So I guess did I press a button that
Yeah, so when you click on the bottom left, the 2 circular buttons, if you accidentally click invite on the 2 circular buttons, it invites somebody to co-host you.
Very, very interesting. Well, I'm glad I did. It's good to meet the two of you, and maybe we can do, if either of you want to be a guest on my YouTube live.
Yep.
I have considerably more people who watch, and it's a little bit more interesting because right now I've got like 2 people on TikTok. So just let me search for me on Google. You could find my email address. Send me an email and let me know if you're interested in being a guest on my YouTube. I'd be happy to have you. We could talk about different generation stuff.
Wait, can I ask you a political question?
You can. I may or may not answer.
What is your opinion on what ICE is doing right now?
I will be very, I don't want to get too involved with it, but I'll suffice it to say border security is important. Without borders, we don't have countries. And if Biden hadn't opened them all up, the floodgate, we wouldn't have to be doing what we're doing now. And that's all I'll have to say. Yeah. So now, can I take you guys off of the live stream?
No, but we can leave if you'd like us to.
But like, shouldn't I be able to remove somebody?
I think you can only remove yourself.
What's up with this TikTok?
Wait, somebody in my comment said, ask him a question.
Okay, don't ask him.
Wait, should I not ask that? No. All right, never mind, I won't.
No.
It's too early for that.
All right.
So, in any case, guys, it's a real pleasure. Please, I don't read the the private messages on TikTok very often. But if you guys want to be a guest on my YouTube live, it'd be an honor to have one or both of you.
Yeah.
And we can set something up.
Oh yeah.
So, what's your first name again?
Jason
and Tucker.
Yep.
Hey, have a great night.
You too, sir. I'm gonna drop a follow.
Absolutely, I'll follow you back.
All right.
Ask him to come in your live. Chat, you actually was talking, bro.
All right. So how do I boot you guys out?
I'm trying to figure out that. Hold up.
Yeah, this is the weird.
I got it right here.
You got it? All right. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night. Let's see if that. Hey, so I'm back. What's up, YouTube? Apparently, I had a special guest on TikTok, and I met Jason, and I met Tucker, 2 really cool cats. Maybe they will be on YouTube Live eventually soon. Let me catch up on YouTube. What with and oh my gosh, there are so many. The mining industry. What do you think about Bad Bunny? Yeah, I thought it was a little disrespectful that it was completely in Spanish, and yeah, but that's a whole other story. I thought it was very trashy too. It was really disgusting. The Super Bowl halftime show should really be family friendly, and that was the exact opposite of family friendly. There's a KFC in Yemen. That's fascinating. Let me see. What's up, AJ? Someone says most streamed artist in history is who is the most streamed artist in history? Anonymous. And looking at TikTok, let me see if there are any additional comments. We just talked about the Super Bowl. What an angle. Okay. Let's see. What are you talking about? There's a lot of comments. Thanks, Sage, for liking. Someone, Jessing Games followed me. It says if you follow them back, you can go live together again. Can I follow him? There we go. All right, I just followed you, Jesse. And do I have a story time on a fight? I have no idea what that means. Someone just asked me if I have a story time in a fight. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. It's been 75 minutes of live streaming. Remember, we were doing Rose Reads, talking about Babystep Millionaires by Dave Ramsey. And I'll leave with this last part here. If your 3 to 6 months of bare bones living expenses is a fully funded emergency fund, I think even a year is better. But at the bare minimum, 1 month. I read constantly in finance magazines that the average American, if he or she lost his job today, could not pay for 1 month of expenses without using a credit card. And I think that's outrageous, and that's frankly embarrassing. So whenever you get your next paycheck, even if it's $1, put it into your savings account. There are 2 great apps for savings accounts. One of them is Capital with a Q. The other one is Opportune with no E, Opportune. They both help you with savings, and I recommend that you check both of those. Okay. And Sula says, right, Bad Bunny was the most watched Super Bowl. Okay, I don't know if it was the most watched Super Bowl ever. I find that very hard to believe because people have so many opportunities to watch. And the fact that I believe the cost of each Super Bowl ad has dropped in recent years, and that's because less people are watching it. And what's up? Sukuna says, what's up? What's up, Sukuna? Thanks, Sage, for liking. Hey, we got 21 likes on YouTube. We got the gold medal. We got 20 likes on YouTube, 1,600 on TikTok. Crazy. And Bryson says, this guy's never been in a fight. I was in 2 fights, actually. One was in elementary school or middle school, and then one was in high school. And thankfully, I've not been in any actual street fights since. And Suluk says, I think it's nice that the Super Bowl is going international. And yeah, but I would believe that if Bad Buddy weren't so political and he didn't make so many political statements. He made his halftime show very pointedly political. And that's where he lost me. And I think if it were international, the Super Bowl should have had Bad Bunny and someone from the continental United States or Hawaii, Alaska, and maybe somebody from Europe or Asia. I think if the 3 girls from K-pop Demon Hunters had played their song Golden and Bad Bunny and Kid Rock, that would have been a really very warm and welcoming and something for everybody thing. But I don't think what was provided was for everybody. That's my opinion. What's up, Sakuvarke? Sakuvarke, I know you sent me a message asking where's Dancer, and she's sleeping underneath the table here, so I don't want to wake her up. AJ says, I'm scared. You have 5 Wall Street Journals I have to read by Wednesday. I have a quiz on all 5 articles. Well, here's my advice. Start reading them now. I'm going to get off the live stream in about 2 minutes, and you are going to start reading your Wall Street journals. Sulik says he shouted out Canada, America, and invited Lady Gaga as a special guest. Okay, good. I think that's a step in the right direction. But again, both Bad Bunny and Lady Gaga are of the same political persuasion. If it were about unity, they would have brought somebody who was on the other political side. You don't bring two people who are basically echo the exact same political statements. You want to bring people that support all Americans. And half of America felt slighted by that performance. That's what I'm saying. If we're about unity, it would be bringing together two different sides, and they would perform together. AJ's graduating in May. Huzzah! Let's give a shout out to AJ. Let me look and all right. So good. It's been a good YouTube live. We've had an average of about 17 people watching this, which has been really cool. Thank you to everyone on YouTube who has been watching. Thank you to the 2 to 5 people who have been watching on TikTok. I think it went actually pretty well, given that I don't have a huge following here. Thank you, Emily, for clicking like. And Bills fan. You're funny, Bills fan. Very funny. He said that it's against their ethics. AJ says 4 years of hell. What's 4 years of hell? The 4 years that you went to school? I tell you this, if you think 4 years of college is hell, AJ, wait till you join the real world, because I wish I could go back to my days of being an undergrad. Life was easy when I was an undergrad, let me tell you. So in summary, again, we're talking about Babystep Millionaires. We've only got to the first 4 things. But remember, a millionaire is just somebody who's got $1 million worth of assets. So if you've got $1 million house, or you got 3 houses, each worth $333,000, or if you've got stocks worth $1 million or business worth $1 million. And what does it start with? $1 that you save today and don't spend. Remember, if you don't have an emergency fund, start building it up today. If you've got a 3-month emergency fund, aim for 6 months this year. If you've got 6 months, try to build it up to a 1-year emergency fund. And what do I mean by 1 year? It means if you lost all your sources of income today, you could survive for 1 year without any change in your life. And that's what I would like for all of you, to feel that, that peace that comes from having a big emergency fund. And one last thing, because people ask about this all the time, does the emergency fund have to just be in cash? What I say is no. You should have 3 months in completely liquid cash, then another 3 months in easily accessible, meaning it's maybe in the stock market, or in bonds, or in the S&P 500. But again, if you want 3 months and it's in the stock market, you should probably save up 4 months that you put in the S&P 500, because maybe the S&P 500 goes down a little bit. Then you can get some additional in gold and silver. That's still an emergency fund, because you can liquidate. You can use their first 3 months of cash for the first 3 months, then liquidate your gold and silver, your titanium, your platinum, your palladium. You can liquidate your Bitcoin. You could liquidate but again, if you have like $100,000 of Bitcoin in your mind, think of it as worth $10,000, because at any moment it could drop down to 10,000. Same thing, if you have 30,000 of gold, think of that as $15,000. It's probably not going to lose half of its value, but it could. So don't assume that. You have to basically do those calculations. And even if you have 10,000 cash, you can't assume that's 10,000 cash, because every year it's getting inflated by 2%. So always think about it. How much could it lose its value? How quickly? All right, final comments, and then I'm out of here. Nicola says, have a good evening. You too, Nicola. AJ says, have a wonderful night. Hopefully you'll go live this week again. AJ, for you, I'll make sure that I go live again this weekend. And thank you to all of you who clicked subscribe. Thank you who clicked like. Please turn on notifications on TikTok, on YouTube. Thank you for joining me. And Mac10 says you're on a job interview. And I am, and I'm glad you came, Mac. Am I hired? Did I get the job? Please tell me that I got the job. I will give you a few days to think about it. Next time I come live, Mac, you can let me know if I got hired. But the only way you'll know when I go live is if you subscribe and turn on all notifications. Max says, nah, we good. So I guess I didn't get the job. All right, guys, have a very good night and save up some money. The more money you save, the better you feel, the less stress that you have. Bye. I'm going to stop the TikTok first. What the heck is that? All right. Bye, guys.